Hi, I'm Brooke O'Manus. For my MBAR Art Space Design proposal, I used two guiding principles. The first being the Kubashua cloth analysis I completed, and I isolated the interlocking and weaving pattern which I found amongst many of the cloths. And so in this picture, I isolated the zigzag pattern that shifted vertically in order to create an interlocking diamond pattern, which I then applied to a roof design created out of thinner wooden members which create different depths based on the arrangement of them, which is shown in these three variations. And you can see on the left the darker areas represent where it was a thicker and deeper member of wood, and the lighter areas were less steep in that design. Looking at the existing site, I tried to keep as much of the pavilions as I could, and so in this case I removed 3 pavilions, and the other 2, which are highlighted, were changed in order to adapt to extending the pavilion to those roofs, which was the second guiding principle I used for this design. And I used regulating lines on the buildings that I was keeping in order to fit the programming into those areas. And the basic breakdown included a more private area to the left for the artists and the caretaker of the site, behind a more enclosed area, and then the larger public area to the right. So in this diagram you can see the pavilion roofs, which were extended to create more programming underneath of them, and in 2 spaces they push out into the sidewalk, and those are the 2 children's museums, which is one of the details I focused on, and those extend out to create intrigue for passerbys and draw people into the site. In this diagrammatic view, you can see how all the programming fits together, and the volumes rise up for the multi-purpose spaces, and then all of the other volumes are the same height of the original pavilion structures. In this roof plan, it shows the details of the corrugated metal, how they meet for the extended pavilions, and then I used corrugated metal for the covering of that Kubashua cloth roof application design for the multi-purpose spaces in the center. In these sections in the bottom right, you see a cut through the 2 multi-purpose spaces and the retail and cafe spaces, which are in between those and separate them. And then in the top is a cut through the Children's Science Museum, which is the second detail I focused on, that's inside one of those extended pavilion roofs. Zooming into the multi-purpose spaces, in the center is the large space with a covered stage that's pushed up against the back wall of the site and allows for circulation in between it, but it has the ability, since it's lightweight, to move in towards the large multi-purpose space for smaller gatherings, and then for larger gatherings it can be pushed back to that wall to allow for more seating as well as regular everyday circulation. So in this view you can see a setup with a lot of seating underneath that covered space for a larger performance, and then to the right in the smaller multi-purpose space, smaller gatherings, everyday workout classes, artist gathering. And then in between these spaces are the gallery and retail space and cafe, which allow for separation of the spaces and some privatization of those activities within those spaces, while not limiting the usage of that space to extend outwards towards the walls on either side, so that the gatherings can increase in size depending on the usage. And then on the left of the cafe is a covered seating area for people to enjoy the cafe and also see out into the rest of the site. And all of this is covered by that diamond pattern I explored in the Kubashua cloth analysis. In this detail you see a cut through that roof design and into the covered seating area for the cafe. And here you see the extension of how that roof continues all the way through to that multi-purpose space, and you can see the stage in the area and the pathway shown in this picture in an impromptu market area for people to move little market stalls into, sell their items, and have those stalls be moved back into storage when it's not in use. In this view, you see a different usage of the space with a small performance to the right, with enough space in the background for people to play, walk through, enjoy the cafe, and you can see that diamond roof pattern continuing all the way through those spaces. The second detail I focused on was in those extended pavilion roofs where the children's museums lie, and in this I created minimal walls on the outside which are almost mirrored over to the inside and create a stationary table in between it, and so that allows for a little classroom aspect for kids to learn and play in this area. And one of the main ideas was creating these tables so that kids have to walk around it and move through it, and they want to interact with everything they find along the way. This detail cuts through one of those tables and shows how the corrugated metal roofing lies on top of the structure, and those walls that hold the table in place connect into that roof structure. In this view, you can just see how vibrant that space can be and how the kids can see through from the sidewalk into the space and want to join in. And one of the main aspects is that all of this stuff inside of it is stationary and reusable, so no children have to bring anything or contribute anything to the space. They can just show up, use the space, learn and play, and then the next kid can come in and play.